Hey, my friend, you probably already know strong teams don't happen by accident. They're built when us as leaders actually invest in our people, when we grow in our own self-awareness, and we're intentional in shaping a healthy team culture. Hi, I'm passionate and I'm Robin Kent, and welcome to Teamwork Made Easier. This podcast, we're going to explore about how to develop your team, how to grow yourself as a leader, and create those cultures where people can thrive together. We'll explore how people are wired and how to leverage our strengths, navigate those frustrations, and build that trust so teams can collaborate more effectively. Because one thing I know, when people are understood and supported, they don't just perform better, they start to love what they do and who they work with. So, my friend, go grab your cup of coffee, settle in, and let's go make teamwork easier, starting today. Hey, my friend. Okay, welcome back to Teamwork Made Easier. All right. So in episode 2, we talked about how we're wired. We talked about the working genius and how we, are wired to work and what brings us joy. If you haven't listened to it, make sure you go back and listen to episode 2. In episode 3, we talked about how we feel. We talked about emotional intelligence and how we feel and how others feel, and kind of just started digging into that. What I want to do here is I want to talk about how safe we feel together in the sense of psychological safety, creating a psychological safety environment where we trust each other. Because the foundation of a successful team is trust. You have to have trust among everyone. Doesn't mean everyone has to agree. Absolutely not. Doesn't mean that, there's not going to be confrontation. We'll talk about how to manage those and how to deal with that and making sure of those things. But we have to create a environment that feels psychologically safe. It feels safe to disagree. It feels safe to be able to share your opinion and be able to, understand and listen to other people, question people, and they don't get defensive, and for your team members to come and question you as the leader, but not to become defensive of that. But because you would have to create those boundaries and things like that, of course. But we want to talk about making sure that we have a very safe, psychologically area environment that allows people to truly show up. They get to show up and be seen and heard and felt understood, all those things that all of us want to do. So no matter if they are the lowest person, you might say, on the team in the sense of, being part of the team, or if they are above you or right with you, whatever it is, doesn't matter about their position, but just that they feel safe as an individual. All right, so let me explain a little bit here. So psychological safety is feeling safe to ask the questions, all right? I don't know if you grew up like I did, but many a times in different environments, it was like, you don't have the right to ask questions. You don't have the right to do this. What I say goes, and nobody else gets to put their words in. I've been around areas like that. But if you remember back in our episode where we talked about the working genius, is that sometimes some people's gifts are that wonder. They're that W, and they love to ask questions. Like, that's where they thrive. Like, you want people to thrive in that. But of course, like I said, have boundaries of what's respectful and things like that. But you have to have that environment where it's okay to ask a question, because you're going to truly get the best out of those people. Another thing of feeling safe is admitting mistakes. So even you as the leader or any of the team members, if you are psychologically safe in an environment like that, then you are more prone to say, "Hey, I'm so sorry. I messed up. I missed that deadline and I did not get that done in time." But they admit mistakes. So if you have that safety in that realm, that mindset, then you're going to have people owning their mistakes so much easier instead of them being scared to death. What's going to happen? I'm going to get fired. I'm going to get written up. You don't have that relationship. You don't have that connection with them. And it's a fearful thing of owning up on their mistakes because none of us are perfect. We're all messing up. So we want to create that safe space for that. Then another thing that creates, when you're feeling safe, then you're able to share ideas. They're going to be able, especially those people that are that eye in that widget when we talk about the working genius. If they are your invention people and they have these ideas, if it is not a safe place for them to speak up and for them to say, they might keep your company's best idea under lock and key and never exposed because they're not in a safe environment where they feel seen, heard, and appreciated. And so they're not going to speak up and share ideas. They're going to think, oh, they're not going to want to listen to this. Oh, they're going to, do whatever, something negative. So they're not going to share ideas. All right. And also, then when you have a safe place, you can disagree respectfully. People can disagree. You can speak up and say, that's a great point, but I don't agree with what you're thinking there, but here's why. And you're able to create that environment that you do it respectfully. And again, those are your best ideas and things can actually happen and move forward. And it's for the best of the team. It's such an exciting time to be able to see and be around groups that have that safety measure, that psychological safety where they're like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to go tell the team this. And it's totally okay if they don't like it, but I want to go tell them about it. And they have that comfort level. This comes back again to loving what you do and loving who you work with. No matter if the people on the team like my idea, they shoot it down, but if it's a psychological safe place for me to go through this, then it's just going to be such a better environment. You're going to move forward so much faster. You're going to be so much more productive. Everyone will be around, in the area. So, because trust grows when people believe they won't be embarrassed, they won't be punished, they won't be ignored. So, this is where trust is such the foundation. The trust, you have to trust your wife that she's going to do, when when you got married, your husband, your wife, whoever, then it's like that trust had to be part of it. But if you are not communicating with your spouse in a way that when that trust is not there, then it just becomes a hot mess, right? Even more than normal. So trust is when people won't be embarrassed to speak up. They don't feel like they're going to be punished for their ideas, and they don't feel like they're going to be ignored and swept under the rug. All right. So some of the most common ways that we break the trust, all right, is as a leader, if we react emotionally or defensive, if we're just like, oh, that's not anything that, or, oh, I don't know what you're talking about, and just being so overreactive in a way that can really break trust. Then another one is inconsistent expectations. I have seen this time and time again. So if your team does not know you and know what to expect from you, then this is even more of a chance they're going to keep ideas to themselves. They're not going to speak up. They're not going to ask questions that could bring lots of fruit to your team. All right. So inconsistency is huge issue that you have to become aware of and address. Not just be aware of it, but actually address it as well. Another one is that's going to break trust is ignoring input. Again, not feeling heard or seen, and that you're ignoring, whether it's in an email, if it's in a meeting, you want to address the input that is given. But when you have that trust foundation and you have a psychological safe place, you can still disagree with them. You can still say, that's a great point you're making, but that's not going to work with what we're doing right now. Okay. But if you ignore it, then that's going to break your trust. All right. And then also, one other is public correction or sarcasm. So, we all need to be corrected at times, but when you do it in a way that's public and can be demeaning and just, negative, then that is typically not a way to build trust. And it's just going to create tension. It's going to create issues outside of that, if that is your norm of going in that direction. But let's talk about ways you can build trust and just making sure that you implement these. It's a lot of the opposite of what we were just talking about, but let's make sure we highlight these. Predictable leadership responses. Like, I know that if I go to John and I mention to him that I think this is something that we could do, I can predict he's going to either be honest with me and tell me the truth, or he is going to probably ask me some different questions. So I need to be ready. But the more predictable you are, and it's something that you're going to be open for, open to listen to, then that is going to build trust even more. Curiosity over judgment. So you being curious about different things on your team over judging them is going to be a great trust builder as well. And following through on what you say. Following through. If you say that this is what's going to happen next, then make sure it does. I mean, it's just, again, it's like if we were dealing with our kids, the more that we trust them with more as they're growing up, if they follow through on what they say they're going to do. If they say they're going to get their homework done, then we're going to trust that they're going to get their homework done, and we don't have to go behind them as many times, or if any, because we trust they are going to do it because they have a, reputation, they have a history of doing what they said they're going to do. So, all right. So the thing with psychological safety, it is when you can look at this and really think about, is my team, do they feel safe enough to speak up, to speak out, to share ideas? Do they feel welcomed? Do they feel appreciated? When I've worked with leaders that create this kind of environment on their teams, it's amazing what they can accomplish. It's amazing what is just people loving what they do, loving who they work with, but also it's the accomplishments of the team that come right alongside that. So it's not all about just everybody's happy and everything's joyful, but you ultimately are going to achieve those things that you have set out to achieve for the team, whether again, it's a sales market goal or if it is something, getting a project complete and finished over the finish line, whatever that looks like, then it's going to be the fruit of being able to say that we have trust on the team and we're moving forward. So, all right, my friend. Well, I hope you found some nuggets of information in that and can take that and start pondering on it and start thinking, how does this work with my team? And do I need to go and change anything or go start working on making it a little bit safer for them to all come together? Then I challenge you to go and take action on doing that because it will benefit you and your team. So, all right, my friend, you have a great one, and I'll be talking to you again really soon. Hey, my friend, thanks so much for spending this time with me on Teamwork Made Easier. My hope is that today's conversation helped you see yourself, your team, or your leadership just a little more clearly. If you want to take this a step further, I'd love for you to grab my How You Are Wired to Work productivity tool. It's a simple, practical way to understand how you naturally work best, what gives you energy, and what might be quietly draining you, so you can work with more clarity, less frustration, and a whole lot more ease. Go to robinkent.com/tool. That's robinkent.com/tool. You can find the link down in the show notes, because when you understand how you're wired and how the people around you are wired, it changes the way you lead, the way you collaborate, and the way your team shows up. All right. Thanks again for being here. If this episode was helpful, share it with a friend or another leader who could use it. And be sure to join me next time as we keep building teams where people love what they do and who they work with.